Yeah, hey everyone. So this is a demo video showing how EnkryptAI uses confidential containers to get a key component of our architecture up and running. I'm Tane and I'm with EnkryptAI. The problem that EnkryptAI hopes to solve is machine learning developers are restricted to cloud-based AI services to deploy their machine learning models, and AI enterprise adoption is therefore slow and cumbersome because they don't trust sending over data such as financial data and healthcare data to a public cloud service to run inference or text generation or any other service that they would like to run. Therefore, we allow the encryption of your machine learning model homomorphically. And essentially, the key takeaway point for what that means is homomorphic encryption allows computations to be performed on encrypted data, and with a machine learning model, that's what you need to get your inference results even while your data is encrypted. The architecture that we have right now is we have a model owner who secures their proprietary ML model using our SDK to get a secure model, and then they push this secret key to the key manager service on the right. The model user then downloads the secure model from a location or a package that has been delivered to them by the model owner, and then gets gets to use this encrypted model and run their inputs for text generation. But they only get encrypted output, which is completely useless until it's decrypted. Now it sends the request over to the key manager, which can then decrypt your responses and give you back your raw outputs. Um, while it does this, it can also authenticate, authorize, track usage, and also permissions and subscriptions if that's what the model owner would like. Now, the place where Coco comes in is the key manager actually runs in a Coco workload because this allows the keys to be protected even from cloud admins and the public cloud. And this also allows the model user's data to be safe even while it's being decrypted, as confidential computing allows security even while at use. So the way we would deploy the KMS, especially using an OpenShift cluster, is by if we get this deployment that I've already set up earlier, we see that we have the deployment over here. Now, if we describe this, we see that we're running our KMS demo, which has been encrypted previously, and then we can get the pods that we need. One sec. All right, so we see that we have deployed a KMS pod as well, and then getting the description of that shows us how it has been deployed. See that it's running with the Kata remote runtime class, which means that it's confidential. Now let's get the service that we have deployed it on. Sorry, I mean the root. And we see that we are running it at this address over here. So now all right, so now that we have the location of the OpenShift root, let's go to our notebooks and see how the EnkryptAI workflow works. First thing is let's get the secure model. Oh, sorry, let's get a raw GP2 model, and let's then encrypt it or secure the model using EnkryptAI. So this uses our SDK, and now we see that we have an encrypted tensile vector, and we also have the decrypted output. Then let's save it at this location. And then let's initialize our KMS client at the address that we saw earlier on. Now, with the client initialized, let's log in as the admin, and then let's add a owner model user and a model owner. Let's log in as the admin. Now that the client is initialized, let's log in as the admin. Let's create a model owner account, which is already registered. Let's make a quota for the owner that they can only add one model, and we'll do that by this command over here. Then let's log in as the owner, and let's look at my account. Let's create an encryption record and get back the model ID. Then let's look at my account over here. We see that we have one model as the limit, and we have used one model over here. Let's now try and add another model, and we get a quota exceeded. Now let's add an authorized user. So we need to make sure that we're logged in as the admin. And then let's permit this user to use that model. And we have to make sure that we are logged in as the admin like so. Now let's log in as the user and then look at my account details. We see that we are a user, and then we see all the models that we have access to. So now let's impose an inference limit, maybe of 3 on the user. And now let's look at the user again. So now we have an inference limit of 3. Let's log in as the admin again, and now impose a token limit as well. So now we have an inference limit of 3 and a token limit of 200. So now let's shift to the model user, and let's also make sure to get the model ID that we generated before. So let's load the secured model, and let's initialize the model ID to the model ID that we need. And let's start the server at the address that we want. All right, now let's run the inference on our secured model. And as you can see, we get an encrypted output. Let's try, if we're logged out, we obviously cannot use the decrypt endpoint. If we're logged in, but we don't have any permissions, we get the permission denied. And now if we're logged in and we have the permissions, we should be getting our response. As you can see, we get the response from our GPT-2 model. We can also use the text gen with various parameters. And let's try it with this sample text. And we get the output over there. If we look at my account details, we see that we have an inference limit of 3 and we have 2 inferences used. So if we try to generate text again, with this will not work. It does work because we have 3 inferences allowed, and now we have 3 out of 3. So if we try now again, we get inference limit exceeded. This shows the access control and authorization details that we do have. Now, if we go back to our model owner notebook, we can revoke the permission for our user. And let's also get some usage records for this model. And we see the output tokens, we see the input tokens that are used, and we see other details such as the authorizations and the permissions. We can also look at the platform details, and we can also look at all the models that are hosted on the server. We can also look at which users are using which model, and we can also look at the permission changes. So whether they were revoked, granted, or the limit was changed. And that's the end of the demo. Thank you for joining in and looking forward to serve as many customers as possible. Thanks.